So, welcome back, everybody, and hopefully you're moving this week and keeping that blood flowing, getting the heart rate up, but having some fun along the way. What about you, Jack? Have you been moving?
Out with the dog. Obviously, the restrictions that a lot of us are under limit the amount of exercise we can do, but I'm still able to coach a little bit, so a lot of demonstrating with the coaching. But yeah, predominantly get out with the dog, and I'm very lucky to live by the sea, so beach walks with the dog are always my number one.
Well, yeah, I know a lot of dog owners that the act of having a dog and getting out there, some companionship. But yeah, the dog needs walking every day, right? So you have no choice but to get out and get with your furry friend and let them run free, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it helps my physical health, but yeah, the main reason I got a dog in the first place, and won't go into the story completely, but it was for my mental health, and so I had a companion.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, good to see. Well, I'll be back on the bike again, so I'm enjoying that feeling of the legs being slightly hurting from getting used to activity again. And again, I haven't had that experience for a few months, so it's a welcome friend. Hurting legs knows I've been doing something right.
You're starting to enjoy not being able to get up the stairs very
easily. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I had years of that feeling. It never went. So I'm quite pleased to not have it anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, today, everyone, we're going to talk a little bit more around kind of why exercise is good for our mind as well as for our body. And we're going to do the FormScore poll as well. So, Jack, what's your score today? I'm a 7 out of 10. I think I need to work on my social connections a little bit. I've let those slip just because I've been so busy, but otherwise on good form. How about you?
Yeah, I was a 6, but I've gone up to a 7 through this purpose kind of work that you and I do. It's really, really nice to have that to look forward to, because as much as it's a lot of work at times, it's something that's really rewarding. So that's a big part for me is purpose. So really pleased to be able to do this.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, everyone, I'll let you sort of log your scores anonymously as we do each week at the end. But a quick session to talk about how exercise is good for the mind. And we hear the word endorphins thrown around quite a lot, and endorphins are released when we exercise, and they're a hormone that sort of control your pain and pleasure. And we're not editing, by the way, so any bloopers you will hear live. So your pain and pleasure and can bring a sense of euphoria. But these endorphins can have some great effects on the mind as well, which is an increase in focus, a boost in your mood, and an increase in your cognitive ability and your memory. So a lot of people will find that exercise at lunchtime is quite good because it sort of stops that kind of afternoon slump that we can experience. Have you experienced that, Jack?
Yeah, for sure. I always struggle once I've had lunch. My day's kind of like, I'm probably not going to do much work here. But if I get out and almost give myself that real proper break and get out in nature and make sure I'm moving, getting the blood flowing, I'm able to pick up again, because I work really well in the mornings, not so great in the afternoons. So having that deliberate physical practice has really helped me.
Yeah, absolutely. So good little tip, particularly now in the winter, is try and get out at lunchtime if you can, because that's giving you that boost of daylight as well. But you'll also get positive effects on your cognitive abilities during the afternoon. And exercise can mean a lot of things. Movement can mean a lot of things. But I want to talk about teamwork a little bit as well, because if we can exercise with others, then there's a whole bunch of other benefits, isn't there, Jack?
Yeah, and this is my kind of the thing I get most excited about when we talk about physical activity, sport, exercise, is this community that you build. It's something I love, and people will be sitting thinking, well, I don't like team sports, or I don't want to do sports, but that's not what it's about, because even my sport, which was an individual sport, I still have a whole community of people, like-minded people, also have a whole army that are helping me move forward with my own goals. So there are so many people you can connect with, learn with, friendships, which fundamentally is so important to human beings.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. I think I'm a cyclist now. I used to be a basketball player. So basketball was my game growing up, and played to a reasonable level until I discovered that the average person playing in my position at the top leagues was a 6'5" American with 3 times the athletic ability than myself. but that sense of working within a team, and building trust, working towards a common goal, giving and receiving help, they were all things that I think team sports instill in you. But I've noticed even transitioning to cycling again, which can be considered quite an individual sport at times, just going out for a ride with somebody else and having that sort of social contract that we're going to ride together again when you're allowed to, it's quite motivational, isn't it?
Yeah, hugely. And it doesn't have to be sport. I partake in a little walking group, a walk and talk, where we can talk about our mental health. It's a group of men just getting out, and it's an excuse for me to take the dog out. But there was before any restrictions, there was 8 or plus so of us just walking around, really nice walks where I am, and just ends up with people talking. And these are also people that they have jobs or things in different stuff or interests that are different to the norm that I like as well, and then can contact these people and see if they want to, go and do this, or can you help me with that? And this is a community I wouldn't have built if I hadn't been doing this physical activity, going for these walks.
Yeah.
Something that when we think of walking, we think, walking might be a bit boring, just going out and having a stroll, which sometimes it can be, but you can do it with so many people.
Yeah, brilliant. And that's sparked off something that I've been doing, and on Zwift, which is the online kind of bike gaming platform. I've joined a group with Chris Grove of BDO, who's in charge of wellbeing at BDO, actually invited me along. But they use Discord on the phones, and there's a setting on Discord that you can have it like walkie-talkies. So you can have sort of 10, 20 people on this ride. You can all hear what they're saying. If you want to talk, you just push to talk. And actually, this works really well because you can engage in social connection and chat whilst you're exercising. I mean, because I'm so unfit, I can barely speak when I'm trying to keep up with these guys. But the concept is there. Press the button and you're chatting as a group. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I've done almost similar things in terms of connecting with people, with a few friends of mine who wanted to get into running and doing some 5Ks and so on. And they were just saying, Jack, would you come and run with us? Now, the pace for me is slow. It's easy, but I actually enjoy them far more than any of the training that I've ever done, because I'm helping someone get to their goal, and I'm also being social, and it got me out the house. So yeah. It just shows this. You can be so creative with physical health, physical activity. It doesn't have to be that elite, horrible, brutal training. It can just be movement, which I know we've said a lot, but I think it's something that needs to be shouted a little bit louder in most places.
Yeah, definitely. And as we talk, it becomes clearer and clearer time and time again that all of the pillars, all of the drivers of form, they're interlinked, aren't they? So we're talking about exercise, but we've very quickly moved on to how exercise can facilitate social connection. We could link exercise. By exercising, you get better quality of sleep. I know that's a big one for me. And things like stress management we haven't touched on. So the stress hormones of adrenaline and cortisol, actually, if we're exercising, we're balancing that out a little bit, aren't we? And again, really intense exercise is creating them, but lighter exercise would be a foil for those stresses that is released in the day.
Yeah, 100%. This is something I talked about quite a bit through the first lockdown in the UK, how that low to medium intensity exercise actually is perfect. And that's in terms of your stress management, your mental health. And that's only getting out 15 minutes a day, the science says. It doesn't have to be any more than that. It's not going out for an hour or so. And then obviously if we're going high intensity, it becomes a completely different role. But typically you're not going high intensity unless you have that real strong goal of performance or so on. The rest of the time, we can just stay low to medium, walking, jogging, whatever, real comfortable will make such a difference to us. All the chemicals will respond in the way that we want, rather than obviously how stress reacts with the body.
Yeah, brilliant. So a couple of other points around exercise, and particularly when we're engaging in a sort of structured program of exercise. And what we're doing here on this program, it's like training our well-being. But actually, what training does, and adding on layer after layer, week after week, is build this growth mindset. And not to get into the psychology of growth mindset in too much detail right now, but actually that's important right now, isn't it? Because we are needing to overcome quite a lot of adversity and challenge. And actually, if we can do that with a growth mindset, if we can instill a growth mindset, that becomes easier to overcome those challenges. And training towards a goal helps that. Would you agree, Jack?
It's always a lot easier to move forward, grow, learn if you know where you're going. If you don't have a destination or a goal, then it doesn't really matter what you do before that, because you don't have a direction. So that's great thing about having that goal, and then having that growth mindset, that positivity, that almost desperation to learn, desperation to move forward in a positive way, and see things in a better light. It's just huge. And I'm huge on the direction thing. I love the little saying similar to, like, if you don't know where you're going, then it doesn't matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's what's great with this. Everyone who's on this has said well-being is a priority for me. So we have our goal of improved well-being and in understanding, education, inspiration, whatever it might be. And here is our way to get there.
Yeah, brilliant. And you mentioned learning, and I think the other thing that exercise and sport generally can give us is an appreciation of learning through failure. Because as a competitor, an athlete, or just somebody that rides their bike, we will always have knockbacks. And if we can grow and learn through those, I think that gives us a big lesson in life. Because whilst we'll never be accused of that with our production values, Jack, I think there's a lot of perfectionism out there, and there's a lot of people striving to be something that's perhaps not attainable. And sport levels us a little bit, I think, and exercise levels us, because, you know, when I was a basketball player, I was never going to be Michael Jordan. When I'm a cyclist, I was never going to be Chris Hoy or Chris Froome. And I think we can often learn through things going wrong, can't we?
I think it builds character. I love sport for kids because of the character building, but if it's done in the right way.
Yeah.
If we're measuring, how we've talked about, we're measuring effort over results, and how we're able to teach vulnerability through sports because of, as you said, that failure. It happens all the time. And especially if you're in some exercise, you've got so many times when you'll fail regularly, and it's not the end of the world. It never is, but it won't feel like it because there's lots of little failures that are fine. We learn and we move forward from. It's something that I really struggled with as a young athlete, a young person, being a perfectionist. I think I had the CEO of the Perfectionism Club for a while. I couldn't fail. I didn't believe in I can't fail. I'm meant to be perfect. I'm meant to be great. But I never learned because I never looked at failure as learning. I saw it as the end. This is the end. Everything's bad. The end of my world. Instead of going, right, I got this wrong, but why?
Yeah.
Why did I get this wrong, so that next time I don't make that same mistake? Yeah. And it's something that I used to get told a lot was the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And that's what happens if we don't learn from failure. Yeah. We're going to keep repeating that same thing that we didn't enjoy, that we don't want, all because of this perfectionist mindset or this refusal to accept failure, when actually failure is just what teaches us.
Yeah, and I think we should celebrate failure. I'm trying to teach my children to celebrate getting things wrong rather than be worried about it, because, yeah, we don't deliberately do it, but that's where we grow. And if we can accept that, then the process, it's back to that growth mindset as well, really.
I think it's always asking yourself, if something doesn't go the way you want it to, first thing you do is go, why?
Yeah.
I'm having a real honest conversation, because you might be the reason why. It's not always someone else. It's not always something else. You might be the reason why. And just saying, well, why did that go wrong? Kind of debriefing yourself. This went wrong because this and this. And what do I have control over, and how can I change it? And that's something I had to bring into my career later on, and something I'm huge on with my athletes. And I even say to them, in the way you say to your kids, I say, I want you to fail, because that means you're learning. And especially when you teach someone something for the first time, and you see it with kids, young kids, I'll teach them something completely new, and they'll get it wrong, obviously, because it's the first time they've done it. And they'll start breaking down and really struggling and feeling overwhelmed. And I'll ask the question, well, why did you expect to get that right straight away? You've never done it. You don't know what it is. And just bringing perspective, asking why, it's so important. And we could speak for hours about this. And it's something that, you know, I feel I have a lot of experience in, with a lot of failures.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, long may they last, as long as we keep growing. So great stuff. Well, look, everyone, hopefully you found that educational and inspirational at the same time. I'm hoping you're enjoying Jack's sessions. We're into the third week now. So I know I am. They're pretty tough, aren't they? So keep going. You can do it. And right now we're just going to do the check-in. So open up the start of the FormScore poll. So Jack's going to get his camera ready. Okay, so there's my 7. Good form. Happy to be a 7. I think I can get to an 8 this week, just by reprioritizing connections. So Jack, your 7's in there as well. So good form. Hopefully you're starting to see a boost in form for all those that are watching and partaking in this plan. And we'll see those numbers grow as time goes on. So thank you so much for doing that. Jack, that was a really good session. Enjoyed it. My form is definitely on the up as a result. Everybody, keep moving, stay well, and stay connected. Thank you so much.